Nothing is free. Once upon a time, in a quaint little town, there was a small butcher shop run by an elderly man named Mr. Smith. The butcher shop had been a cherished part of the community for generations, known for its delicious cuts of meat and friendly service. Mr. Smith was a kind-hearted man who loved his work and was always ready to help his neighbors in any way he could. One sunny morning, as Mr. Smith was setting up his shop, he noticed two young men standing outside. They were looking at the rows of fresh meat in the display case with hungry eyes. Mr. Smith had seen them around the town before but didn't know much about them. The two men entered the shop, and one of them, named Jake, approached the counter while the other, named Mike, continued to admire the mouth-watering meats on display. "Hey there," Jake greeted Mr. Smith with a friendly smile. "We heard you have the best meat in town. We're pretty hungry and we're wondering if you could give us a little something to eat." Mr. Smith returned the smile but shook his head gently. "I'm sorry, boys, but nothing is free in this world. If you want something to eat, you'll need to pay for it." Mike joined the conversation now, nodding in agreement. "Yeah, we get it, but we don't have much money right now. Could you just spare us a small portion? We promise we'll pay you back as soon as we can." Mr. Smith considered their request for a moment. He could see that they were genuinely hungry and in need, but he also knew that he had bills to pay and a family to support. He decided to make them an offer. "I understand your situation, and I want to help. How about this? You can do a small job for me, and in return, I'll give you some meat to eat." The two young men looked at each other and then back at Mr. Smith. "What kind of job?" Jake asked. Mr. Smith explained, "I need some help with delivering a few orders to my regular customers. It won't take much of your time, and in return, I'll give you a hearty meal. How does that sound?" Jake and Mike agreed without hesitation. They were grateful for the opportunity to earn their meal, and they appreciated Mr. Smith's kindness. Mr. Smith quickly prepared a couple of packages for delivery, and he handed them to the two young men. "Here are the orders. Be sure to be polite and friendly to my customers, and make sure everything gets delivered safely." Jake and Mike nodded, and with the packages in hand, they left the butcher shop to complete their delivery tasks. As they went from house to house, they encountered various neighbors and customers of Mr. Smith. They were greeted with smiles and warm words, and the packages were received with gratitude. It was clear that Mr. Smith's customers appreciated the quality of his meat and the friendly service he provided. After delivering the last package, Jake and Mike returned to the butcher shop. They were tired but content, having successfully completed their task. Mr. Smith welcomed them back and asked, "How did it go, boys?" Jake replied with a grin, "It went great. Everyone was so nice, and we made sure to be polite and friendly just like you said." Mike added, "We're ready for our meal now, Mr. Smith." Mr. Smith was pleased with their efforts and prepared a generous portion of meat for them. He handed them a bag filled with delicious cuts and smiled. "You've earned this. Enjoy your meal, and remember, nothing is free in this world. Hard work and a good heart will always pay off." Jake and Mike thanked Mr. Smith profusely and left the shop with their meal. They found a quiet spot in the town square, sat down on a bench, and began to enjoy the tender and flavorful meat. As they savored each bite, Mike looked at Jake and said, "You know, I didn't expect today to turn out like this. I thought we'd just get a free meal, but we ended up making some money and getting something to eat." Jake nodded in agreement, a thoughtful expression on his face. Mr. Smith was right. Nothing is free, but sometimes, when you work hard and help others, you can earn what you need. From that day on, Jake and Mike continued to help Mr. Smith with deliveries whenever they could. They also found odd jobs in the community to earn some money and gradually improved their financial situation. Over time, they became not just customers of the butcher shop, but friends of Mr. Smith. They often spent their evenings at the shop, sharing stories and laughter with the kind-hearted butcher. They learned valuable life lessons from him, not only about the importance of hard work but also about the beauty of generosity and kindness. The townspeople admired the transformation in Jake and Mike, and they all came to understand that, indeed, nothing is free in this world, but sometimes, it's not just about paying with money. It's about paying with your time, your effort, and your heart. And in the end, the rewards are far greater than a simple free meal. And so, in that small town, where the aroma of freshly cut meat always lingered in the air, the story of Jake, Mike, and Mr. Smith became a lesson for everyone. It reminded them that in a world where nothing is truly free, the most precious things are the bonds of friendship, the warmth of community, and the kindness of the heart.